Hello and welcome to the Malika Rights channel. Today we're going to be talking about Susan from the Chronicles of Narnia. Anyone who grew up reading them or who's just, picked them up and started reading them will be familiar with Susan. And some of you may not be as familiar with the sort of controversy that's come around when addressing the reason why Susan didn't return to Narnia with Lucy and Edmund. So we're told that Susan starts to behave in a grown up way, like she's trying to behave like the grown ups. And some people have taken offense to this and said that she was deprived of her place in Narnia because of her sexual awakening, and that the book portrays the sexual awakening of a female as something inherently negative, something that sort of shuts her out of fun. And I think that's a very, I think that's a very sort of one-sided, biased, and really illogical kind of reading of the book. It's almost as if you went into the book to see something wrong with it. And I think that the better way to address that is not to see Susan as being shut out of heaven, hypothetically speaking, because of her sexual awakening. Because we see Susan almost becoming a woman. We see her grow up into an adult in Narnia in the second and third books of the series. We see her taking on responsibility. We see her as an adult, and none of that stops her from being in Narnia. It's when Susan begins to behave in a way that is associated with adults, in a very sexual way, in a way that's supposed to make her a sort of object in the male gaze, that we get this sort of shut out of heaven, or her ability to return to Narnia sort of revoked. That's because she's trying to make herself an object of the male gaze. If we look at Susan in the third book, which is The Horse and His Boy, we see her as a beautiful queen who is desired, but not because she is trying to be this sexual being. She is a woman in her own right. She's grown up, and she's not this object to be ruled. But when we see her in the Voyage of the Dawn Treader, we see that she has begun to make herself this sort of sexualized version of a woman, this object. She is trying to deprive herself almost of the integrity that comes with becoming a woman. I think that is the better way to look at that, and it's a tragedy in of itself, because it shows how girls view womanhood. They see their value as only being there if they are able to appeal to the male gaze, and that is not what womanhood is. And I think it's very detrimental to teach that to girls and to encourage that. And what we see in the world today is an encouragement of rampant sexuality and promiscuity in order to almost be a fierce and independent woman, when you can be independent and strong without devaluing yourself. And I think that is the real issue at the core of it. I think that's my hot take on it. That's all I really wanted to say. I would really like to hear what you think. What do you think of the situation? Do you think that C.S. Lewis had no right to sort of shut her out of heaven? Or do you think that he was making a very valid point by showing that in trying to be an adult, in trying to sexualize herself, she had almost deprived herself from the joy of Narnia? So tell me what you think, and thank you for listening.